I am incredibly late to the game in talking about this IEM, but I think this one is a really great daily driver. Here's why. Hey folks, I'm Matthew from Bloom Audio, and today we have the Kiwi Ears Orchestra Lite, an IEM coming in at $249, featuring 8 all-balanced armatures, 2 for the lows, 4 for the mids, and 2 for the highs. There are a lot of reviews on this IEM detailing how good it is, and I want to jump in here, kind of share my thoughts, and to first do that, we are going to look at the build and design. I think all clear resin shell IEMs just look really great, and that trend definitely continues here with Orchestra Lite. While green may not have been my first color choice, I really don't think you can go wrong in any of the color options Kiwi Ears has here. The color option is just a mere accent to the clear resin shell here in the back, and anytime I think this style is done, it really just shows the complexities of the inner workings of an IEM, and it really just goes a long way in making something that both looks good and shows the overall craftsmanship that goes into an IEM. If I had my way, I'd actually probably just go entirely transparent, which is a faceplate option. I'm looking at some of the other options. The purple's really nice. I've seen a lot of pictures of the blue. That one's really good too. Probably pair that clear one though with like a kind of gold cable, and yeah, now we're kind of cooking with peanut oil. All right, speaking of cables, we get a pretty good cable here. You get a standard 3.5 to 2-pin cable. It is a white silver-plated cable as well that will complement the overall aesthetic of this IEM, which is definitely a nice bonus there. Now, as for the comfort of this IEM, this is probably going to be pretty divisive. This is an unvented shell design, so if you've been sensitive to pressure buildup in the past with previous IEMs you've owned or tried, this one's really going to be no different. There's a good amount of pressure buildup here, but to my ears, I actually really didn't have much trouble at all. Honestly, I found this one to be pretty comfortable. I threw on SpinFit Omnis and was able to get really long listening sessions with this one. I'd actually look to game with this one too, for reasons that we'll detail a little bit more into the sound, but just because of its comfort, I feel like I could easily go into 3 to 4 hour gaming sessions with really no problem. And I definitely look forward to taking this one with me on travel, like going on a plane with the passive noise isolation that it presents. You just get something that blocks out a lot of noise and really just does a great job in sealing. The rest of the unboxing experience is quite simple. You get a Kiwi Ears branded case, some ear tips, and that's about it. I think most of the attention and focus went into the design and craftsmanship of this IEM, which I think Kiwi Ears did a really great job of, especially with all the different faceplate color options and just that clear resin shell that I love. And it definitely meets expectations here at $249, especially when you factor in sound. And while we're on the topic of sound, let's just dive right into objective sound. As always, you have the graph on your screen. I have it here on my phone. Starting off in the low end, you are definitely going to get some nice boom here in the sub bass. I would not expect too much mid bass, and we are going to be detailing this bass response a little bit further in subjective sound because I don't think it is the hardest hitting or really the bassiest set that Kiwi Ears presents. As for the mids, you get some nice note weight here. You get some nice lower mid representation. Though the note weight isn't anything to write home about, I do think it is well presented and does have some nice thump and thickness to it without being overdone. As for the upper mids here, you get some nice vocal presence, which shouldn't come as too much of a surprise with an all-balanced armature set. That usually does tend to be the case, and I think Orchestra Lite continues that trend here. At louder volumes, I would imagine these vocals become a bit too much for some listeners. Some of you may know my sound signature preferences at this point. I do like more forward vocals, so to my ears, it didn't really prove to be a problem, but I would be weary of that if you're more upper mid-range sensitive. As for the treble here, you get something that's pretty well balanced. I would say for the most part, it is quite smooth. It rolls off quite quick, but I think its sibilance control is just really good. It never encroaches being too hot or too out of control, just stays where it needs to be, and it does have some pretty nice detail at times. So now moving into subjective sound, starting off with the bass, I would not expect something too hard hitting here. If you are looking for something a little bit harder hitting with a little bit stronger attack, I would look elsewhere in the Kiwi Ears lineup, specifically the Punch, which is a collab with HBB. That one definitely has a little bit more hit to it, where this one can be a little bit boomier at times. Where I saw Orchestra Lite kind of boom the most or portray its thickest note weight and overall sub bass presence was in my jazz listening tracks, specifically on a song like Come Rain or Shine by Bill Evans' Trio. Like I said, I would not be looking for too much mid-bass attack or hit, but for an all-balanced armature set, this one has some nice sub bass lift, just has some nice presence here in the low end breaks up the overall monotony of the neutrality that this IEM presents, just adds some nice engagement and musicality to the mix. Moving into the mid-range here, I definitely think this is a point of emphasis in Orchestra Lite sound signature. You have the 4 balanced armatures dedicated to the mid-range, and the general timbre that this IEM portrays is really well done. This is a generally clean mid-range, doesn't have too much warmth, but there is, again, that slight sense of musicality to the mix that makes this one a little bit more emotional, and with those vocals being a little bit more emphasized, I think that only adds to the general musicality of this IEM, but I would not be looking for something too warm here. If you are looking for a warmer IEM or a warmer mid-range in general, I would also look elsewhere in Kiwi Ears lineup. Maybe the KE4 that just boasts a little bit richer note weight, a little bit more warmth in general. That IEM is also really good, but I think this one is a bit more natural to my ears. Female vocals I feel like really shine on this IEM, and while Alice Phoebe Lou's vocals usually don't need much to sound really great, I think Orchestra Lite just handles them really well here. That slight bit of emphasis brings them a little bit more forward in the mix, and you get something that's really emotional and quite captivating in its portrayal. Like I said about the treble in the objective sound, there is really no sense of sibilance here. There is not a lot of times where S tones came across as too much. I think this one actually has really nice control over that, and there was really never a time where I was thinking to myself, wow, this IEM is a little bit too hot, it's a little bit too much, I need to turn this down for my regular listening volumes. Instead, I feel like I could hear a lot of detail, a lot of squealing of guitars. Something like 3 Little Bears by Jimi Hendrix has some really nice crunch in the guitar, but it also has at times some squealing that can be a little bit high pitched, and I feel like this IEM just handled it with class. There was really some nice extension, some nice detail there without overdoing it. Everything just felt natural, coherent, and pretty well extended for the most part, but again, like I said, this is a pretty smooth treble response, so don't look for a ton of air, for a ton of brilliance here. Something that is more well controlled, and I do think that contributes to the sense of it being a really good daily driver, because there isn't just too much detail here that becomes overwhelming in long listening sessions. It's just portrayed really well. Finishing up with sound staging and imaging, this is probably what surprised me the most of this IEM. The soundstage isn't anything really to write home about. I think it's well portrayed, it seems natural to my ears, but the imaging has really great depth to it. I've seen a lot of reviewers praise this IEM for how well it performs in FPS games, and just judging off my music listening alone, I would probably have to agree with them. I've really come to enjoy my listening sessions anytime I've gotten the chance to hear Endlessness by Nala Sinefro. This was one of my favorite albums of 2024, and if you haven't checked it out already, I highly encourage you to do so, and I'll probably have it linked down in the description just so you can go ahead and go listen to that. Orchestra Lite just kind of found a way to impress me each and every time I listen to this album. I feel like its imaging was just super engaging, and there was always something new I was looking for each and every time I listened, so this one just handled that album so well. In closing here, this is just an easy one to recommend, and this is kind of one I've looked at to add to my collection as just a good baseline IEM. Whether I'm checking out new sources and I kind of want to see what they add to the mix, or whether I'm just going on a walk to the gym, whatever it may be, this IEM just kind of finds a way to do it all. I usually try to have my closing sentences in my videos be a little bit more elaborate than "this is just a really good IEM," but that's kind of exactly what Orchestra Lite is. I feel like if you're into EQ and you want a baseline IEM to just kind of tinker with, I think this is a great option. If you're looking for something to travel with a lot, this is a great option. Or if you just want something good in your collection, there really should be no hesitations on Kiwi Ears Orchestra Lite. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can't check out Orchestra Lite just yet at bloomaudio.com, but I can promise you that it is coming quite soon. If you feel like Orchestra Lite checks off a lot of boxes for you, or if you have any general questions or concerns about this product or audio in general, feel free to hit us up at hello@bloomaudio.com or jump into a live chat where me and my colleagues are ready and waiting to discuss audio a little bit further with you guys. If you want to talk a little bit more about audio with me, feel free to leave a comment down below in the comment section. I try to get back to each and every comment left on my videos. Also, be sure to like and subscribe, as we'll be back soon with more high fidelity audio content.